Have you ever felt like you were being followed when no one was there? A lingering sound of footsteps echoing in the distance, only to find yourself alone when you turn around. Well, tonight's tale is not for the faint of heart. Allow me to welcome you to another episode of Spooky Tales Unveiled. This is the chilling story of the Phantom's footsteps. It all began in a centuries-old manor house perched on the edge of Blackwood Forest, a labyrinth so thick with trees that sunlight scarcely made its way to the ground. Overgrown vines consumed the brick facade, whispering tales of abandonment against the crumbling walls. It stood years as an eerie relic until a young historian, Eleanor, decided to research the home's forgotten past. Eleanor was ambitious, eager to uncover the manor's secrets for her thesis. Her first step inside was accompanied by an unsettling creak from the groaning wooden floors. The chilled air tickled her skin, and each sound, each squeak, echoed louder than the last. Sheet-draped furniture loomed like ghosts frozen in time, and the stillness felt far darker than she imagined. Nevertheless, she pressed on, carrying an ancient journal she discovered in the town's archive. Legend had it that the manor was once home to one Victor Ravenshade, a reclusive but brilliant scientist known for his obsessive experiments. Intriguingly, Victor disappeared one stormy night over 100 years ago. Some said he never truly left the manor. Eleanor found a room tucked beneath the grand staircase, dusty but meticulously intact, as though someone, or something, had been there recently. On the desk, she noticed a half-melted candle and eerie sketches of mechanical devices with cryptic notations scrawled along the margins. But it wasn't until she flipped through the final pages of her recovered journal that the shivers began to claw at her spine. "You have summoned me," a haunting passage read, words written in shaky, uneven handwriting. Eleanor laughed nervously to herself to shake off the unease. But just then, a sound, so faint, she doubted herself. Thump, thump, thump. The rhythm was too deliberate to be the rickety house settling. It was soft, almost human. Footsteps. She spun around, looking for the intruder, but found nothing. The moment passed without further incident, and Eleanor reasoned that she was hearing echoes from her own boots scuffing the dusty floors. A rational mind doesn't leap to spirits, after all. But as she climbed the staircase towards the manor's library, the sounds returned. Louder, closer, thump, thump. Except this time, they weren't hers. She turned again. Her heart pounded like a war drum in her chest. "Hello," she called, her voice trembling as the walls swallowed the sound. Still, no one answered. By now, Eleanor was frantic, but curiosity bound her to the mystery as much as fear. She quickened her steps, reaching the library as clouds outside darkened. Inside, more journals and ancient tomes were strewn chaotically across bookshelves. Flickering lightning illuminated the room for fleeting seconds, casting dancing shadows along the tall walls. Then she felt it, an icy gust that moved past her, not originating from any shattered window frame or draft. Goosebumps raised involuntarily as the hairs along the back of her neck stiffened. She placed one trembling hand on a warped desk when another distinct thud reached her ears. This was not the groan of old wood. This was movement, following her. "Okay," Eleanor whispered aloud. "This isn't real. I'm imagining this." Suddenly, from the corridor just outside the library, came distinct, heavy thuds. This time, the repeated cadence was deliberate. Thump, thump. Eleanor froze, every muscle in her body rigid, and then she saw it. shadows creeping towards the doorway, but no visible figure casting them. A low hum crescendoed. Her breathing halted as a single phrase emerged from the void, light yet deliberate, seemingly whispered straight into her ear. "Leave. Now." Eleanor bolted, down the stairs, past the sketches, over creaking floorboards that seemed to grab at her heels. She burst into the bleak foliage of Blackwood Forest without bothering to catch her breath. The chilling thunder roared like applause as she turned back at the manor one last time. Nothing stood at the doorway. Nothing peered from the shattered windows. Still, the unmistakable sound of footsteps reverberated faintly from within, unbroken, ceaseless, eternal. To this day, the manor stands untouched, a poor man's museum of despair. Should you ever feel drawn to follow in Eleanor's footsteps, a word of advice: never dismiss what your ears betray, and more importantly, never wear boots that might echo back to those that don't belong. So, what would you do if you heard footsteps in an empty hallway? Have you ever experienced an unexplained sound that left you questioning your reality? Drop your stories in the comments below, and let us keep the conversation alive. Unlike poor Victor Ravenshade. Until next time, keep the lights on. You never know what's lurking in the shadows.